I'm Jeff Murrah, and I want to welcome you to True Texas History. Today, I think I've got a treat for you. We're going to be talking about the life of John B. Jones. Now, John B. Jones, I don't know, he's one of those characters that was very important in establishing peace and order in Texas by means of the Texas Rangers, but not many people know a whole lot about him, and I wanted to go ahead and go over him. And I know even to this day, just a mention of his name, there's a lot of controversy. You know, when they built the Texas Ranger Heritage Center over in Fredericksburg, there was a lot of controversy about its association with John B. Jones. Well, who is he? Let's find out who John B. Jones was. Well, first of all, he was born over in South Carolina, and his family brought him to Texas, and he lived, first in Travis County, later in Matagorda, Navarro. So he was in several places in Texas, and he was educated at Matagorda, Independence, Rudersville, Mount Zion College, Winsboro, South Carolina. Quite a few places. Now, one of the things I have found in researching is that those little small town colleges, a lot of times you read it, like Gonzales College, Chapel Hill College, Ruderville College, whatever, they're no longer in existence. You think, well, they were just kind of fly by night. They were not that big a deal. They were a big deal. The thing is, the war and changing economics ruined that. But in terms of the quality of education, these people would put a lot of the state universities these days to shame. I mean, they were hardcore in terms of requiring you to be familiar with Latin and the classics and have discipline, penmanship, all these things that you don't find in places like UT these days. Gee, I wonder what happened. But anyways, when the war between states erupted, he went ahead and volunteered for service in Terry's Texas Rangers. Now, I did happen to write a book on Terry's Texas Rangers, and people always get confused. Terry's Texas Rangers was a military outfit. The Texas Rangers is a law enforcement outfit. Now, there were some people that served in both. Now, they both did many things to enhance the reputation of the Rangers, respective Texas, during the time that they existed. But he went ahead and enlisted in the regiment, volunteered for it as a private. Now, these guys, I could spend, well, in fact, I have spent hours doing presentations on Terry's Rangers. They were superb horsemen, and they would be able to ride their horse down the street at a full gallop and be able to reach down and pick a quarter up off the ground. Not only that, they could jump over other horses, wagons, and so forth with their horsemanship. These, they were jumping stuff on Congress Avenue in Austin at one point. But they distinguished themselves on many battlefields, and in terms of how they saw it as defending Texas and defending the people here. They did not view their actions as an aggressive war where they were going to go out and break things and destroy people's property and burn it to the ground. No, they were trying to see to it that people would leave us alone, just let Texas be Texas. Now, somewhere along the line, about 1863, he went ahead and had worked his way up to captain and shifted on over to the 15th Texas Infantry. And while in the 15th Texas Infantry, which served over with Walker's Greyhounds over in Louisiana and Arkansas, that area, protecting Texas, he worked his way up to a major, and at times had some of the responsibilities of, some of the records say an adjutant general. Essentially, he was in charge of many of the administrative functions of that regiment. And after the war, he went ahead, came back to Texas briefly, and then went down to Mexico and even down to Brazil, trying to find a place for a Confederate colony, because many of these people, although the cause was lost initially, some of them went down to Mexico, tried to help Maximilian. They just wanted their own little place. And he went down there. They didn't find anything suitable, so he found himself back in Texas in 1868. War ended in 65, so within 2 to 3 years he was back. And he was elected a state legislature, but the state legislature wouldn't let him be seated. And that's unfortunate. And then soon after that, we finally got Reconstruction over with, and the governor went ahead, Governor Richard Koch, commissioned John B. Jones to reestablish the Texas Rangers, because the Texas Rangers as law enforcement had existed during Reconstruction. It was all done away with, and instead we had a state police force which was corrupt as all get out. There were a lot of problems with it. And then once Governor Koch got into office, he established the Texas Rangers again, and he put John B. Jones in charge of the Frontier Battalion. And the Frontier Battalion was responsible for keeping peace out west. And it was organized similarly to military style. You had officers, and I forget the names of the office, but that they had a command structure, and they took care of business. The Indian raid stopped. Things started settling down on the frontier. Now a lot of people have concerns about how they did it, but they got it done. They established peace on the frontier. At one point, Jones, and I believe it was about 25 men, found themselves attacked by about 150 Indians, and managed holding out for a day until the U.S. cavalry arrived. And John B. Jones also was instrumental in bringing about a solution to the Horrell-Higgins feud. And he and another ranger were also played a prominent role in breaking up the Sam Bass gang when they tried to rob the bank over in Round Rock. And he also played a role in settling the El Asario Salt War. Now, each of these incidents are one filled with politics and controversy, even to this day. And I know there have been times I've scratched my head and say, gee, how did they settle all these things? Well, the answer is John B. Jones. Well, in fact, this is fascinating. I want to share this with you. He came up with his own oath of office when he went into the Texas Rangers, and I like this. I, John B. Jones, do solemnly swear I will bear allegiance to the state of Texas, that I will serve her honestly and faithfully against all enemies or opposers whatsoever, and observe and obey the orders of the governor of the state and the orders of the officers appointed over me according to the act of the legislature for raising a battalion for frontier protection. That was his oath of office. And he carried it out. In fact, under him, the Rangers were known for a lot of their honesty and accountability. Like, for instance, every horse issued to the Rangers had to be appraised, and it was policy that they had to be appraised by 3 independent appraisers so that they had an honest value, and there were no exclusions. Even his own horse had to be appraised. He had to abide by these same policies. Um, and so he instituted that kind of rigorous accountability throughout the Rangers. Um, and essentially set him up as helping have a great reputation for accountability, settling tough disputes. Um, yeah, he was a man of action. And, when you get into the real stories behind a lot of things, um, during that period of time, a lot of times you'll find reference to John B. Jones in the background. He's one of those initially kind of a background figure until you understand more about him and about the times in which he lived. And he was shorter in stature than a lot of men, but he was definitely not short on courage and bravery. And let's see, when did he die? I do not find that. Hold on just a second. John B. Jones died on July 19th, 1881. Just a few years, because he got married in 1879 and ended up dying in 1881. That was a short marriage. But says that he departed his life after a long and painful illness. And he was known for his gentleman behavior and unassuming address, and he was considered by many a true man. So they referred to him as Major Jones, and that's the story of John B. Jones. I hope you enjoyed it, and that he's another one of those heroes of early Texas. Talk to you later. Vaya con Dios, my friends. Goodbye.